Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the second video in this series about grade 8 exponents. In this video, we are going to investigate the topic of exponents, specifically the first law. Now, the first law has to do with the multiplication of powers. Remember what I said earlier? Powers are the whole 3 to the 4 and the whole 3 to the 2. Both of those are powers. And now we're going to investigate. Now, for us to investigate, remember, it means we've got to go back to the foundation, back to the definition. So let's start by writing out the 3 to the 4. Now, if I look at writing out the 3 to the 4, the definition says it's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Then there's, of course, a multiply. What about the 3 to the 2? Now I'm going to say 3 times 3. Let's look at that answer. How many 3's are there? Well, there are 6 of them. So this is actually just 3 to the power of 6. This is where we start investigating. 3 to the 4 times 3 to the 2 is 3 to the 6. What does your spidey sense now tell you? I love to kind of go, what does your spidey sense tell you? Can't I say if I add the 4 and the 2 together, it gives me 6? That's an interesting scenario. Let's try another example to see whether this works. What if I've got 2 to the 3 times 2 to the 2? Without doing anything, what does your spidey sense tell you? It should be 2 to the power of 5. That's what my spidey sense tells me. But let's investigate. Let's go to the definition. 2 to the 3 is 2 times 2 times 2. Of course, there's a multiply now. What about 2 to the 2? Well, that's just 2 times by 2. Which means I end up with 2 to the power of 5. So was my spidey sense right? Yes. So in other words, can't I just maybe use a shortcut instead of having to write it all out? That 2 to the 3 times 2 to the 2 is 2 to the 3 plus 2. Interesting. Let's try for x to the 4 times x to the 3. What does your spidey sense tells you? X to the 4 plus 3. X to the 7. This is interesting. What about 3 to the 2 times 3 to the 4? Quickly tell me. Grade 8, what does it give you? It's going to give you 3 to the 2 plus 4, which is 3 to the 6. You've got it. You've got it. You've got the shortcut. Man, this is fantastic. But what if I've got y times by y to the 2? What does this equal to? Now, here is something I said in the first video that you've got to remember. For us to do this, we have to put that 1 there in the exponent. We need an exponent so that we can kind of do our shortcut, okay? So our spidey sense tells us that we are going to get y to the 1 plus 2, and this is equal to y to the 3. You have this. You've got it. Remember, if we go to the definition and we try and solve this using the definition, remember that y to the 1 is just y. And y squared is y times y times y. So in other words, I end up with 3 y's. So my spidey sense works. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Now let's have a look. What if the bases are not the same? Now all of a sudden my spidey sense is going wonky. It's broken because it just doesn't feel right, okay? So what am I going to do? Let's go to the definition. So if my shortcut doesn't work, let me go to the definition. 2 to the 3 is simply 2 times 2 times 2. And if I multiply that by what is 3 squared, well, that's 3 times 3. Can we write this as one exponent? No, we can't. So we are going to have to go back and actually calculate this. That 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 3 is 9. So the answer is 72. So does my shortcut, my Spidey sense, work when the bases are not the same? No, it doesn't. So what if, ladies and gentlemen, I give you x squared times by y to the 3? My bases are not the same, so I'm going to have to go to the definition. X squared is x times x. Y cubed is y times y times y. But I can't write that as a single thing. I can't. Therefore, I'm just going to go back to where I started right at the beginning. And this, ladies and gents, gives me law 1. If I've got two bases, a to the power of x, and I multiply this by a raised to the power of y, if the bases are the same, then I can add the exponent. Okay? So let me backtrack on that a little bit. If I've got a to the x times a to the y, the bases are the same, then I can write it as a to the power of x plus y. Remember, that was our shortcut. And it wasn't actually just a shortcut. It was actually a law. It was actually a rule. It is the first law of exponents. But there's a very important thing here. First of all, it only works when I'm multiplying powers. Then I add the exponents. And secondly, the bases must be the same. Now, ladies and gents, we are going to practice this. But only after the second law, that video. Then we're going to look at practicing the first and the second law together in one video. I hope this helps you. And remember, you can always go back to the definition. If the law you are struggling with a little bit at the beginning, remember you can go back to the definition and just check yourself that your answers come out right. This is Mr. VG signing out. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Cheers.